Well, we're continuing with the customization of Stan's harp. I have some pretty significant discoloration on the bottom of the mouthpiece, and the blank itself is not looking perfect either. At this point in time, a couple of options. This is Mother's mag and aluminum polish. I'm going to hand polish them. I could use a machine like a Dremel with a polishing wheel. I have that, but I actually prefer sometimes just to do handwork. There's no chance of any problem. The trick here is a gentle pressure. You don't want to take the risk that you're going to misshape this piece. This is part of the mouthpiece assembly, so it's very, very important that it be absolutely friction free. Most of this is just some acid in the mouth reaction with the mouthpiece. It's not severe, but you do want to be careful when you do this, because you really have to clean these things carefully when you use a chemical like this or a polishing compound. But you can see that this is definitely looking a whole lot better real quick. You don't want to press too hard, because you can actually bend this thing right out of shape, and you want to do it on a flat surface. Ideally glass would even be better, because it's even flatter than the wood. But at this pressure, we're not going to have any trouble no matter what we do. So I just try to make sure I'm removing as much of the gook as I can, or the corrosion left over, and still leave the finish itself in good condition. And so if I were to take now apart without polish and rub it, you'd see that it looks very, very good, actually close to new. Now this side's in much worse shape. But that doesn't mean that it won't work well. It actually will still work within spec. All that's happened here, let's take a look and see. Well, that's interesting. It was really just buildup of mouth goop. It really doesn't appear that the nickel plating came off at all. So I'm kind of surprised that this one's coming back as well as it is. And again, my caution with you is that you can use Mother's mag and aluminum polish, but you really have to thoroughly wash these with a toothbrush and dish soap to make sure that you get all of the residue of this off, or you will taste it and play. My general rule of thumb is to wash things 3 times as long with, rinsing as I would think is necessary, and usually that'll be enough. But you can see this is really coming along very nicely. And it's just light, gentle finger polishing. Okay, I'm going to come here to a part without gook on it, and you'll see it cleaned up very well. Let's get on this mouthpiece too, huh? So we're going to come here like this. I might as well do the top part too while we're doing it. Get it back to new condition for the player. I have to put the harp together now because I'm ready to build the ERGO button. And in order to build the ERGO button, I have to have the harp together. To test it, make sure that it's 100%. That's interesting. It's a team puck market and the puck mark in that. Okay, now here's the part that's kind of looking pretty sour. So let's just see how well it works. You can see I use a very small amount of polish on these things. I'm not putting a huge wad of anything on. But you can see it pretty much removes everything. There are a lot of polishes out there. I have a lot of polishes. I tend to go back to this one. I think it works well because it does clean it up, but it's not very abrasive. Now, if you use a Dremel and a high-speed twirling polishing thing, you could remove a half a 10,000th of the material. A mouthpiece is the wrong place to be messing around with changing specifications, because the airtightness of the harp is so much related to that. I'm just polishing it right now. Finally polish up. You can see how this ended up. My next thing is to thoroughly clean those components and dry them, and then go ahead and reconstruct this harmonica.